Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome to Sew with Mediva. And if you're a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, thank you for sticking to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to cut and sew this stylish play suit with drawstring on the waistline. This play suit has two pockets on the sides and it's a simple cut together sleeve just as you can see in the video, and it also has a zipper at the back. So if this is something you are interested in, make sure to keep watching and make sure you watch to the end so that you don't miss out on any detail. And if you find this video useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. So I made use of 3 yards of this beautiful African print fabric, and I also have my scissors here, my tape rule, my chalk and my ruler. So this play suit is in two parts, the upper part and the lower part. So we're going to start with the upper part now. So we're starting with the upper part of the play suit, and I have my fabric cut out already. We're cutting both the front and the back panels together. The front panel is in a fold of 2 while the back panel is also in a fold of 2. So the back is 1.5 inches bigger than the front because of the zipper allowance. I hope you guys understand. Towards the closed angle, it is 1.5 inches bigger. So to get the wideness of fabric to fold, go ahead to divide your shoulder measurement by 2. Mine is 8 inches, and then whatever I have left is going to serve as my sleeve length, so which is about 12 inches thereabout. So my sleeve length is going to be 12 inches. So in total I have a fabric of 20 inches on a fold, and the back is about 23 inches. And the length of this upper part is from my shoulder to my half length plus 2 extra inches. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to mark out the neckline. So on the front panel alone, I'm going to take the wideness of the neckline, which is 3 inches, and the depth of the back neckline is 1.5 inches. I'll connect the points together all the way to the back this way, and then I'll come over to this opened angle of my fabric and come down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slope, and then connect it all the way to meet the neck width. So after that, from that point, I'll come down by my round armhole measurements divided by 2, which is 8 inches for me, and then I added 2 extra inches to it, 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So I marked a total of 10 inches there. Go ahead to use your own measurements. So I'll just go ahead to extend the line into the fabric this way. And on this new line I marked, I'm going to mark my round bust measurements divided by 4, which is 10.5 inches. I'll add 1.5 inches for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance, making a total of 13 inches. Go ahead to use your own measurements. So like I said earlier, the length of this upper part is from my shoulder to my half length, which is 16 inches, and I added 2 extra inches to it because you don't want it to be directly on your half length line, which is your high waist. So I have 18 inches here. So I'll come over now to the waistline and place my round waist measurements divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. Go ahead to mark it and connect the points together this way, and then curve it out on this armhole area. So let's go ahead now to cut it out. So I'm going to add half of an inch to this shoulder area for joining allowance, and then I'll cut out the neckline on both fabrics. So after cutting out, I'll separate the front from the back. So on the back panel, I'm going to eliminate 0.5 inches from the center back. This is going to avoid any kind of bulging at the back when you attach your zipper. So I came in by 0.5 inches, and I'm going to use my ruler to just connect it all the way up this way and then cut it out. So after cutting out, I'll set the back panels aside while we work on the neckline of the front. So for the front panel, I'm going to just extend the neckline all the way down to meet the waistline this way. So take your ruler and your chalk and then just extend the neckline all the way to meet the waistline, and then proceed to cut it out. So open up the center front as well. So you're going to have 2 pieces of the front and 2 pieces of the back. So we're still going to have a stylish collar design on the neckline of the front. So the next thing we want to do is to join the pieces together. So I'm going to place the front and the back panels right sides facing each other this way. and then go ahead to close up the shoulder using half of an inch. The half an inch I added while I was cutting. I'll repeat the same process on the other side and close up the shoulder area. So when I'm done joining the shoulders, I'll also close up the sides using my 1 inch seam allowance. So when I'm done with that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after I closed up the shoulder and the sides, this is what we have. Before I turn it over to the right side, I'm going to notch this seam area opened. So by doing this, it is going to help the fabric relax very well on the right side when you turn it over. So go ahead to make small cuts on the seam area before turning over to the right side. So I'll just flip it over now and show you guys what it looks like. So you can see how the armhole area is looking neat already. So after turning over, the next thing we want to do is to cut out the fabric we'll be using to create the collar. So on one side, I'm going to just take my tape rule and measure the neckline all the way from the front through to the back this way. So measure what you have from the front to the back neckline. So I have about 23 inches there, so which means I'm going to have the same thing on the other side. So I'll add 2 extra inches and cut a fabric length of 25. So I've cut out the fabric we'll be using to create the collar, and it is 2 inches wide. So the fabric is in a fold of 2, that is 4 inches when you open it up. So to attach the collar, place the open angle of the fold on your fabric this way. Place it on the neckline this way, the open angle of your fold, making sure the right sides are facing each other, and then go ahead to use your pin to hold it down. So use your pins to secure it this way, all the way around the neckline. So after doing that, I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and then join it together. So I'm going to use half an inch to stitch down. I'll cut out the excess and then go ahead to stitch down the collar all the way to the neckline this way. Go ahead to stitch it all the way down. So when I'm done doing that, I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side. Go ahead to attach the collar all around the neckline, and when I'm done, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after stitching the collar to the neckline, this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful it looks. So another thing I did was to use my pins to close up the zipper allowance at the back. I just used my pins to hold it down temporarily before I attach the zipper. So after fixing your collar, it is going to overlap on each other this way in front to create that simple V neckline that we want for the front panel. So what I'm going to do now is to use my pins to hold down the collar in front this way, and then go ahead to just stitch it down. So I'll go ahead to stitch it down in front. So this is what the neckline looks like now. You should have something that looks like this. So I'll go ahead to stitch it down. After that, I'll also fold in the sleeve by 1 inch. I'll fold in twice and finish it up. So when I'm done doing all of that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So I have stitched down the collar in front, and I also went ahead to fold in the sleeve twice and then stitch it all around. So you can see how beautiful it looks. So let's move over to the lower part of this playsuit. So starting with the front panel, and I have my fabric in a fold of 2. So the full length of this playsuit is 36 inches, and we already used 18 inches for the upper part. So this lower part is also going to be 18 inches. So I marked a starting line at the upper part of my fabric, and then from that point to the full length of the pants is 18 inches. And then I added 2 extra inches to it for folding allowance, so you can work with whatever length you want. So from this waistline now, I'm going to mark the remaining vertical measurements I will need. So the first one is from the waistline to the hip line, which is 10.5 inches. Go ahead to mark your own measurement. And the next measurement is from the waistline to the crotch depth. So to get your crotch depth, divide your round hip measurement by 4. Mine is 11 inches. Then add 2 inches to it. So for mine, I have 13 inches. So go ahead to use your own appropriate measurement and extend the lines this way. So after that, I'll come over to the hip line and place from the closed angle of my fabric. I'll mark my round hip measurements divided by 4, which is 11 inches, and then I'll add 1 inch for seam allowance, making 12 inches. So I'll mark that 12 inches on the crotch line and also mark it on the waistline, and then proceed to connect all 3 points together. After that, the next thing is to take the crotch extension. To get the front crotch extension, go ahead to divide your round hip measurement by 4. Whatever you got, divide it by 4 again. So for mine, I have approximately 3 inches. So I'm going to extend the crotch line by 3 inches. So after extending, I'll go ahead to form a curve from the hip line all the way to meet that crotch extension this way. So the next thing to do is to get the midpoint of the crotch line. So measure what you have on the crotch line all the way to the extension. For mine, I have 15 inches. So the midpoint is going to be 7.5 inches, 7.5. So after marking that midpoint, I'm going to then extend it all the way down to the full length of my pants. So the next thing you're going to do is to measure around your thigh where you want your playsuit to stop. So make sure not to take the measurements too tight, give a bit of ease there. So whatever you got, divide it by 2. So for mine, I got 26 inches divided by 2, which is 13 inches. So I'm going to divide 13 inches into 2 and place it on both sides of the line. So you can see that my tape rule is 6.5 inches is on that line. So I shared 13 inches on both sides of the line, which is 6.5 inches, 6.5 inches, and then I went ahead to mark it. So work with your own measurement and make sure to add your seam allowance of 1 inch. So after doing that, I'll go ahead to connect it all the way down. I'll connect it all the way down this way, and also connect the side all the way to the crotch line this way. So for the waistline of the pants, I'm going to measure what I have on the waistline of the upper part, which is 20 inches. So I'm going to divide that 20 inches by 2 and mark it on my pants. So I'm going to place 10 inches for the waistline, and I'll add 1 inch for seam allowance. So from the center front, I'm going to mark 11 inches to the side, and then I'll connect it all the way to the hip line this way. So this is basically all for the front. Let's go ahead now to cut it out. And then I'll proceed to open up the sides. So we're going to use the front panels to cut out the back. I'll go ahead to fold up the fabric and show you guys. So to cut out the back, I've gone ahead to place the front panel on another fabric that is in a fold of 2, as you can see. So I made sure that I have enough space towards this crotch extension. On the sides, you will not be needing any allowance there because we already added seam allowance to the front panel. So towards the crotch extension area, I have about 4 inches, and at the upper part, I have 2 inches. So I'll come over to the hip line now and come out by 2.5 inches. Smaller size can do 2 inches. So for the back crotch extension, I'm going to extend it by 3 inches. I'm using the same crotch I used for the front, but a bigger size person can add 1 inch to whatever they used for the front crotch. So go ahead to extend the front crotch this way, and then connect the back crotch in such a way that it is on the same line with the front. After doing that, I'll then extend the line all the way to meet the waistline this way. So make sure the crotch curve of the front and the back are on the same line, so that when you try to join together, the back will not be longer than the front. So I'll add 2 inches for this inner seam allowance and then connect it all the way to the back crotch this way. So this waistline, I'm going to just connect it all the way up, forming a slant. The last and final thing we want to do is to mark the zipper allowance, and I'll come in from the center back by 1.5 inches. I'll mark 9 inches down and then connect it all the way up this way. So this is basically all for the back. Let's cut it out. So let's go ahead to cut it out. I'll take the zipper allowance now. And then I'll proceed to open up the sides. So before I separate them from each other, then go ahead to trim off the base. So before I separate them from each other, I'm going to notch where I want my pocket to be. So we're using a simple inseam pocket. So from the waistline, I'll come down by 7 inches and then just mark the point there. So this is how wide I want my pocket to be. So I'll use my scissors to notch that point on all 4 fabrics. I'll go ahead to notch the points, and I'll also notch the full length of my pants where I want the pants to stop, so that when folding I would know where I'm going to stop. So after that, I'll open up the fabrics for you guys to see. So this is what we have. The next thing is to start joining together. So I'm going to close up the crotch area of the front panels, and for the back I would also close it up to the point where I want my zipper to stop. So I'll come up by half of an inch and just close it up. So when I'm done, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after I closed up the crotch area for the front, this is what it looks like, and I have also done the same thing for the back, but I left the zipper area opened. As you can see, the next thing to do is to insert the fabrics for the pocket, and I'm gonna head to cut out 4 fabrics of the same size. So they are 7 inches wide and 10 inches long, and I have 4 pieces of it. So the wideness of the pocket is 7 inches and the length is 10 inches. So I'm going to place the right side of this fabric facing the right side of my shorts this way. I'll place it on that notched point and use my pin to hold it down, and I take it to my sewing machine and stitch it all together. When I'm done, I'll repeat the same process on the other side. I'll stitch it down, and then on the back panel I'll also do the same thing. On those notch points, I'll go ahead to stitch down these fabrics on it. I'll stitch on the other side as well. So when I'm done doing all of that, I'll show you guys what it looks. So after I stitch down the pocket fabric to the pants, this is what it looks like. So you can go ahead to top stitch on the right side of the pocket. So the next thing is to join the front and the back panels together, and I'm going to place them on each other, right sides facing each other this way. I'll match the pocket fabrics, and then I'll go ahead to close up. When I get to this point, I'll lift my footer up and then turn the fabric and close up the pocket with this shape this way. When I get to this side again, I'll leave the footer up, I'll turn the fabric and then close up the side all the way down using my 1-inch seam allowance. Close it up all the way down. So when I'm done, I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side. I'll go ahead to stitch it all the way down. So I'll repeat the same process on this other side. Make sure to mesh the pockets very well, mesh the sides together, and then go ahead to close it up. Just like I have explained, go ahead to just close it up, close up the pocket and stitch it all the way down. So when I'm done with that, I will show you guys what it looks like. So after I closed up the sides and the pocket, this is what it looks like. So before I close up the crotch area, I'm going to finish up the base of my shorts. So I'll open it up this way and then go ahead to fold it in up to the point where I notched. So by doing this, you're going to make sure to have equal length for both the front and the back. So I'll fold it all the way to the point I notched and stitch it down. I'll repeat the same thing for the other side, and when I'm done, I'll go ahead to close up the crotch area. You can see that the front and the back crotch is equal. So I'll stitch it closed and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after folding in the base of the pants, I also closed up the crotch just like I explained, and you can see how neat and beautiful it looks. This is what the back looks like. So the next thing we want to do now is to join the upper and the lower parts together. So the next thing we want to do is to join the upper and lower parts together. So I'm going to just remove the pins I used to secure the zipper allowance. Go ahead to open it up. So after doing that, I'm going to fold up the waistline into 2 equal parts to get the center point of the front of the upper part. So I'll just notch the center points this way and then go ahead to measure it to the center front of the shorts, and then use my pin to just hold it down. So after holding down, take it to my sewing machine now and join the waist areas together using half of an inch. So I'll join it all the way to the back. When I'm done, I'll do the same thing for the other side. I'll join it together all the way to the back. So when I'm done doing all of that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So after I joined the upper and the lower parts together, this is what it looks like. You can see how beautiful and neat this looks, and these are the pockets on the side. So the next thing we want to do is to create the casing where we'll be passing the drawstring. So I've gone ahead to cut out the fabric I'll be using as the casing. I folded in half an inch on both sides and then I ironed it out. So I'll come over to the midpoint of the short and take 1 inch on both sides from the midpoint of the short. So I'm going to fold in the edge of this fabric now. I'll fold it in and mark the center. So I'll make sure that that center point is sitting on the waist joining, and then I'll go ahead to stitch it all around the waistline to the back. So fold in the edge of the fabric and then go ahead to stitch it. You can use your pin to hold it down. So I'm going to use my pin to hold it directly on the midpoint of the fabric. Then I'll go ahead to just stitch it down on the upper part. So you're going to leave the center open. You can put your pins on the center point, then you stitch the upper part and stitch the lower part to create your casing, your drawstring casing. Stitch the lower part as well. When I'm done with that, I'll repeat the same process to create the casing for the other side. I'll stitch it upper and lower and then show you guys. So I have stitched down the casing and this is what we have. So we're going to be passing our drawstring through these holes. So I have also created the fabric I'll be using as the drawstring. So I just folded my fabric and I stitched it all the way down. So the fabric is my round waist measurement and I have 2 of it. So I'm going to be using my safety pin to pass it in, just like you're passing the elastic band. So through that hole, I'm going to pass in the pin with the drawstring. So go ahead to just keep pushing it in this way. So the casing is 1 inch wide while the drawstring is half of an inch, so you can see that it is going in smoothly. So when I get to this point, I'll stitch it down and do the same thing for the other one. So after I was done passing in the drawstring, this is what it looks like. So when you wear it, you use it to give your playsuits a good fit on the waistline. So I also stitched it at the back just like I explained earlier. So the next thing we want to do, which is the final thing, is to insert our zipper to the back part. So my zipper is not as long as I would have wanted it to be, so I'm going to be using button or hook and eye for the back, for the collar area. I hope you guys understand. So that my zipper will start just before the collar. I'll use my hook and eye to finish up the collar area and just fix my zipper all the way. So to insert the zipper, I have flipped the Playsuit to the wrong side, so I'll go ahead to iron out my zipper allowance, and then I'll take my zipper and place the right side of the zipper now facing the zipper allowance this way. So the wrong side is facing me now, and then I'll take it to my sewing machine and stitch the zipper all the way down. Just after the collar, I'm going to stitch the zipper all the way down on one side. You can use your pins to hold this down before you stitch. When I'm done, I'll repeat the same process on the other side and just stitch my zipper into the zipper allowance. So when I'm done doing all of that, I'll show you guys the finished product. So after inserting the zipper at the back, this is what it looks like. You can see how neat and beautiful it looks. So for this collar area, I'm going to use my hook and eye to just finish it up. I'll sew it to it. So this is where we end this video for today, guys. I hope you found it useful and I hope you have learned something new. So see how beautiful this Playsuit looks in front. You just need to adjust the rope to your size when you wear it, and then you tie it up this way. So this is where we end this video for today. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, share this video to your loved ones, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.